All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are taking a grand tour of what is, without a doubt, the most complex and amazing machine you'll ever own, your own body.
I mean, seriously, just for a second, think about it. As you're sitting here, listening to this, millions, literally millions, of tiny, silent processes are firing away inside you just to make this moment possible. It's absolutely mind-boggling when you stop and think about it.
Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. We're going to take a function-first approach. So instead of just making a boring list of parts, we're going to explore what our bodies do. You know, how we move, how we defend ourselves, how we get fuel, and how we control the whole shebang. It's all about how these systems work together.
So first up, movement. This is the big one. It's how we interact with the world, from walking across the room to something as simple as blinking. So let's break down the incredible engineering that makes it all happen.
Now, all movement is really a partnership, a brilliant team-up between two key systems. On one side, you've got the skeletal system. That's the scaffolding, the framework that gives you structure. And on the other side, you've got the muscular system. These are the powerful engines that pull on that framework to create every single move you make.
And what's so cool is that your skeleton is way more than just a passive frame to hang things on. Yeah, it provides support, but it's also your body's personal bodyguard, protecting all your vital organs. It's a mineral bank, storing crucial stuff like calcium. And get this, it's also a factory, constantly churning out new blood cells. It's a living, dynamic system.
And the places where these bones meet, that's where the real engineering magic is. We call them joints. Think about your elbow. That's a hinge joint. Pretty simple, it just bends one way. But then you have your shoulder, a ball and socket joint that lets you swing your arm all the way around. Each joint is perfectly designed for its job.
So how do those muscles actually work? Well, it's this incredible, super fast chemical chain reaction. It starts with a signal from a nerve, which releases a flood of calcium. That calcium acts like a key, letting these tiny protein heads called myosin grab onto long protein filaments called actin. Then, powered by ATP, that's our body's energy cache, the myosin pulls. The filaments slide, the whole muscle gets shorter, and boom, that's a contraction.
Okay, we've covered how we move, but how does the body protect itself? I mean, it's basically under constant assault from the outside world. Well, it has some seriously sophisticated defense systems. Let's meet our internal guardians.
And your first line of defense is the one you see in the mirror every day, your skin. Fun fact, it's actually your body's largest organ. It's made up of three main layers. You've got the tough outer wall, the epidermis, the dermis in the middle, which is packed with all the important stuff like nerves and blood vessels, and then the hypodermis, the cushy bottom layer of fat and tissue.
But here's the thing, your skin isn't just a wall, it's an active, intelligent system. It's constantly working to regulate your temperature by sweating, it keeps you from losing too much water, and it even makes its own vitamin D when you're out in the sun. It's a real multitasking marvel.
So what happens when something actually gets past that first line of defense? Well, that's when the internal security team kicks in. That's the lymphatic system. You can think of it as your body's very own sanitation department and security force, all rolled into one, constantly filtering out threats and keeping things clean. And the real heroes of this system, the frontline soldiers, are the lymphocytes. You've probably heard of them. They're the famous T cells and B cells. These are your body's elite special forces, trained to hunt down, identify, and destroy invaders like bacteria and viruses.
All right, so we've got movement, we've got defense, but none of that is possible without energy. So, for our next stop, let's look at the incredible logistics of fueling this human engine.
And it all starts here, with the digestive system. Think of it like a highly efficient disassembly line. The food you eat gets broken down chemically in the stomach, and then it moves into the small intestine. That's where all the good stuff, the nutrients, gets pulled out and sent into the bloodstream to power every single cell in your body.
Now, those nutrients are only half of the recipe for energy. To actually burn that fuel, our cells need oxygen. And that, of course, is the job of the respiratory system. With every breath you take, you pull in oxygen, which travels down to millions of these tiny little air sacs in your lungs called alveoli. This is where the big trade happens. Oxygen jumps into your blood, and the waste, carbon dioxide, gets kicked out. So we have nutrients from our food and oxygen from the air. The big question is, how do we get that stuff delivered everywhere, from our brain all the way down to our toes? Well, we meet the master delivery driver, the heart. This thing is a tireless pump at the very center of it all, pushing that life-giving blood to every corner of your body.
Okay, let's follow a drop of blood for a second. First, used up, deoxygenated blood comes into the right side of the heart. From there, it gets pumped on a quick trip over to the lungs to pick up a fresh supply of oxygen. Then, that newly oxygenated blood comes back to the left side of the heart, where the super powerful left ventricle gives it a massive push and sends it out to the entire body. It's this perfect continuous loop, beating over 100,000 times a day without you ever thinking about it.
Now, all of this, the movement, the defense, the fueling, requires an insane amount of coordination. So who's in charge? Who's running this whole operation? That brings us to our final stop, the body's master control networks.
Your body actually has two main control systems that work together. First, you've got the super-fast nervous system. It uses electrical signals. It's like your body's internet for instant responses, like pulling your hand away from a hot stove. Then you have the slower endocrine system. It uses chemical messengers called hormones, which is more like sending a memo through the mail. It's for more long-term regulation, like growth or your metabolism.
And the command center of that nervous system, the brain, is amazing at delegating. Get this. Right now, as you're watching this, the occipital lobe at the very back of your brain is processing the visuals on the screen. At the same time, your temporal lobe on the side is processing the sound of my voice. It's all happening at once, seamlessly.
Meanwhile, over in the endocrine system, there's one gland that's basically the big boss. The pituitary gland gets called the master gland for a very good reason. It takes directions from the brain and then sends out its own hormone signals to tell a bunch of other glands what to do. It's basically the shift manager for your entire body.
And you can really see its reach. You've got the thyroid in your neck, which is like the thermostat for your metabolism. You've got the adrenal glands, which give you that fight-or-flight jolt of adrenaline. And then there's the pancreas, which is constantly working to keep your blood sugar levels perfectly balanced. It's an amazing system of chemical control.
So, when you put it all together, what's the big takeaway from our tour? It's this. None of these systems works alone. Not a single one. From taking a step to having a thought, dozens of systems are all working together in this silent, perfect harmony that most of the time we don't even notice.
And that really brings me to my final question for you. After seeing all of this, even just this quick peek under the hood, what's the most amazing part of this incredible internal universe that you're carrying around with you that maybe you took for granted yesterday but won't today?